I will tell you, but I need another 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We have the time, or is it coming too long? Yeah, 10? Finito? Gone? 10 minutes or not? Yeah? Okay. So, in Ancona, we look at CPAP failure. From 2004 to 2017, we analyzed 1,444 preterm infants with gestational age of 168 to 223 days. And the surfactants were given according to guideline criteria. FiO2, the CPAP failure had the proper definitions in the very beginning, and you can see for yourself it's pretty much the same everywhere. And the way our patient basically were 1,400. Then 800 got intubated in the living room right away. The baby who could be brought to the unit stabilized on CPAP are 585, and 264 failed CPAP, and 331 had the CPAP success. So we were interested whether we could predict CPAP failure or successes in our cohort. Please forget about the left, look at the right. You can see here that as gestational age progresses, the number of intubation in black go down. These are the failures in blue, and these are the successes. Whether you could do better and more success is possible, but this is our own data, let's say. And you can see a strong effect on gestational age, on intubation and failure, of course, and success. So when you compare the 300 baby that succeeded with the 252 that failed, you can see there are significant difference. And no surprise, the baby with success were bigger and older. That's natural, right? It's not randomized, and you can see all the differences here, but that's not it. You have more cesarean section, less cesarean section, more antenatal steroids, as you would expect in the success babies. And the diagnosis, most like pneumothorax, BPD, so they were all different because we're talking two different populations, of course. And also, these are the statistics, basically. But I come to the most interesting part. We look at the prediction of CPAP failure, of CPAP failure, I beg your pardon. With the area under the curve of 86, we found, and that came to a surprise to us, that in baby 24 to 32 weeks, having only 23% or higher between 180 and 240 minutes has an accuracy of 81, sensitivity 84, specificity of 80 in predicting surfactant failure. If we look at the baby 24 to 29, the model was pretty much the same, 24 to 29. And if we look at the model 29 to 32, the model is pretty much the same, which is at variance from the concept that you give surfactant 30% to the tiny baby and then before was 40% to the larger baby. We found the same prediction. The same curve for smaller baby and higher baby, which is a new information. And we compare also our own prediction model with Peter Dagaville, which data being used for a thing. And you see our line is the black line on top here, the top black, and Peter's is the blue, and you can see that our fit is, we have double the patient of Peter, but I mean, our model fits much better, let's say, both in the small baby and the relatively large babies. And when we looked again at the prediction model, sorry to be a bit more technical, we found that basically FiO2 oxygen dependency of 22 and greater at 824 minutes had an odd ratio of 16 to being treated. And you can see for yourself gestational age birth weight, they have all very small alteration. So the prediction of the model is based on oxygen dependency here. And there is no difference, for instance, for gestational age between the 24 to 28 and 29 to 32. Our message here is, if you have Yali membrane disease, because we're talking Yali membrane disease, no matter, the disease is the same, whether it's a tiny baby and not tiny. If you don't have disease, you don't have disease. This is a separate concept from the fact that the tiny baby has more frequent disease and the larger baby are less frequently affected by the disease. They're two separate concepts. So, FiO2 as an early, in our hands is a good predictor of CPAP failure. 23 is a good predictor regardless of gestational age, and this model all through 24 to 21 weeks. So what they're doing this moment, at this moment, we are comparing two thresholds. We give surfactant to 0.23 versus 0.33. We are comparing LISA versus Ensure with and without sedation. It's 120 patients. 60 get LISA, 60 get Ensure, 30 get sedated, and 30 are not sedated. And we look at the comfort score and so on. And of course, we try to maximize and get the best use possible of non-invasive ventilation, as you heard from Professor Moretti. These are the clinical trials. If you want, you can look in our study in the clinical trial, this threshold and this anesthesia or sedation things. And I thank you for your attention. I managed to be a bit short.
The information you presented with the CPAP failure in your cohort is very interesting. I keep trying to convince my fellows that I accept a threshold of 25%. If a baby has evidence of respiratory distress syndrome and an X-ray clinical assessment, then if they require 25% and above, then you need to intubate and give surfactant. Unfortunately, we don't have any non-invasive modes of giving surfactant right now. And every time I get resistance with that, we see evidence that that those babies who do not get intubated and receive surfactant develop pneumothorax. So I'm not sure where this 30% cut limit comes from. In my experience, even when I was in training, most of my consultants would say, if a baby requires more than 25% oxygen, then that's the time where you say, okay, we gave it a chance, and now it's time to intubate and give surfactant. But I'm not sure why there's no, clinical trials or something that would give us more information than just going with experience.
Good question. I cannot answer because if you in Miami it's 25, Toronto you're telling me is 25 these days, right? So probably people with some experience, they sort of incorporate this information in their, although there's no studies, available for that. With the guidelines, we really try very hard to go to scan all the literature, and this study does not exist. The matter of fact, we try to do our own little study to figure out whether, there is a difference also. But this should be a study taken up by a large company where the fair number of babies and possibly outcome will be different. But then you have to standardize for administration because it's like then ventilation is also, and administration should be really standardized. Otherwise you get some confounding thing.
It'll be interesting to see the results of your study, the 23 versus 33%.
We are small center in 2 years. I will come back in 2 years eventually. Okay, thanks.
You were giving surfactant to the Ensure technique, then you extubate or intubation, surfactant and non-mechanical ventilation.
So for the most part, it's Ensure. So you intubate, you give surfactant and extubate. In babies who are a bit bigger, and smaller babies, once you pre-medicate, then it's sometimes difficult to extubate them right away. So you give them some chance to wake up and get over their sedation, and then you extubate them.
Ideally, if we had a way, we are working a bit on that to sort of decrease the amount of stimuli without, depressing the respiratory center, so the respiration will be perfect. But it's not for now, I believe. Yes?
Thank you very much for the information. I want to clarify only some points. First, is there any studies regarding higher initial dose of Cervanta?
No, because I'm afraid not, because Cervanta is 4 milliliter per kilo, right?
Yes.
And yes. There are studies, never got published, because if you increase the dose, you will have too much volume. And people are afraid that too much volume will cause trouble in terms of too much lung water, not enough water absorption. So yeah, that's been tried, but it never got to the print.
The other point, you didn't find that keeping catheter French 5 in a tiny baby for 3 to 5 minutes, it is not obstructing the airway for a long time?
This you will find in this Lancet. We calculate the diameter of the trachea, we calculate the different diameter in the literature, and possibly it's true they have CPAP if you keep the mouth shut, but for the 600 gramma with a larger diameter, you get a critical airflow obstruction. That's what at least we believe. It's like that. But it's only for the tiny babies.
I am so sorry for the last question. You do found from your experience there is much loss of Cervanta during this LISA technique, leakage during introduction, during the baby breathing.
The whole products. If you put more, if you have larger volume, probably you lose more. If you have smaller volume, you lose less. But you have a leakage of 25, 30, 35% in all associated with LISA that you would not have otherwise with Ensure or so, or less. Let's say, I cannot say 0, but maybe 5 to 10%. In animal, it's 10%, 5%. Yes?
Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. Just one question about the nebulized form of the nebulization of surfactant. You described many different kinds of technologies invented for the administration of nebulized surfactant. But then you also claim that nobody has practically succeeded in administering a nebulized surfactant. How come so? Is it all experimental, like with animals or laboratory and so on?
My humble view, I'm not a respiratory physiologist, is their tidal volume of babies is way shorter than the anatomical volume. So no matter what you nebulize, at the end, the last part of gas diffusion, with the last part of gas exchange will be by diffusion. So there is a problem, there is a fundamental problem behind the unsuccessful story of nebulization.
Thanks very much.
We have one more question.
The Cochrane view Lopez
Yes.
get already conclusion that prophylaxis is not good. We are in 2012. There is no any data about the uses of surfactant prophylaxis to work for very tiny baby, 23, 24, 25. So I think that we have to be cautious in giving this messaging. I think that we have to validate the prophylaxis in this tiny baby in the future. I think it could be important. First, second, early it's better than later, and from your data, 23% oxygen. So, which baby of 23, 24 with gestational age arrive from the living room without oxygen? So, in my mind, can we test surfactant prophylaxis for this very tiny baby? I think it could be important. The second consideration is that LISA is not non-invasive. It's less invasive. But what is the less invasive? I think it's important to come back to my data from Albertine that demonstrated that if you avoid mechanical ventilation the first 24 hours of life, If you come back to the NIMSA trial, that demonstrated that the baby that were enrolled in the LISA were intubated after the first day of life. So in my mind, my hypothesis could be probably the success of LISA could be related to avoid the mechanical ventilation in the first day of life, and to give surfactant very early, like a prophylaxis or early rescue. So I think in the future we have to consider that the long way to BPD or to avoid BPD is a 1, 2, 3, 4 step, not only one step. So probably we have to consider all these issues in the future.
Thank you for asking. I agree with everything you said. The matter of fact, I made that comment on the prophylaxis. So I mean on things during my talk, because it's I think there are babies without prenatal steroids or even with prenatal steroid at 23 weeks gestation, and there is something. Myself, I'm torn a bit in between. I trust that auditing the data, which very few people do, and see what happened in your unit, what happened the last 5 years. It's help guiding bundles of improvement bundles or so. But it takes an epidemiologist, statistician, you get all the fellow to do the data collection and so on. But sometimes there is. I dream that one day I go beyond guideline, but I can translate available information, assessing local risk factor and optimizing treatment according to local risk factors. But it's a dream, probably. It will never come true. In terms of more research, I think we should probably be a bit more influential with Survanta, with Abbott or other companies or Chiesi or so, and say we would like to try to answer these questions. And because I'm sure you appreciate prenatal steroids were like 20% 20 years ago, and now we in 95%. And now we are to clear population where without, and now probably less invasive is doable or it will gain popularity, it's getting better and better. It's not I'm against, it's just I sort of discuss with you some limitation, and I try myself to be cautious not to jump on something because it's fashionable, and try to know better the pros and cons and so. But it's possible that with a lot of prenatal steroids, with the chance of the possibility of administering surfactant with low level of invasiveness or so, we change our practice. Yes?
This only as regards the type of surfactant itself.
Sorry, I don't hear you well.
Thank you for this very nice lecture. You asked about only the type of surfactant, because I couldn't find any strong evidence in the literature about your experience with this one. Sometimes the baby need the first dose as recommended for LISA, the baby need again surfactant. This is the first question, will put LISA again or into LISA one? Second question, will change the type of surfactant or the same? Because some centers are using, for example, we receive the surfactant, second time we need, will give Infacert, something else, without any strong evidence. Any experience as regards to this one?
Difficult to answer because, of course, to be correct, you should have a study, you cite a study, and tell what the people did and so on. I don't see a rationale for changing the surfactant, a strong rationale for changing the surfactant. I see the rationale for choosing the best available surfactant. And
about repeated by LISA. If they need again surfactant, or give by LISA also, or something else?
I don't think this is ever tried. But if I had to put 4 milliliter via thin tube in a breathing subject with the risk of apnea, it will probably be, in one way, it could be distributed slightly better, but I'm convinced that the volume will take too long the injection will be too long, and the volume will be too high with Survanta. That is my guess, but I have no experience, and I would not I've never tried Lisa and so on.
So no, not the William itself. I am asking if baby need again infrastructure for me after any type of surfactant after 6 hours, 12 hours, want to repeat again given second dose or third dose.
Yeah.
Or repeat this again, the type of
This is
question.
why I think it's important to hold it whatever in your center. Because if you get a lot of chorioamnionitis, a lot of baby with different lung maturation, you may different, I mean, I don't know, you know how many second doses you give in your center? We are now, we were 22% until 5 years ago, now we are 16% second doses. 16. So out of 116 get a second dose. But it depends really on the center, and normally it's because the baby are especially sick. They get a second dose. So we don't have, our experience, we don't have a significant, a large number of babies that need a second dose. That's what I'm saying. The idea would be, if the baby have good breathing pattern or so, that the second dose should be given the same way you give the first dose. There's no point in intubating the baby. You try to avoid in the first place, I don't think you want to intubate for the second dose.
In this case, for the second dose, you are going to give the second dose through Lisa, or you are going to give the second dose?
There is the German pediatric, they kept the same approach, but that makes sense. I mean, it's, unless what say Gianluca, that what happens, or the good and the bad, have unique time window in the first day with hours of life. But I tend to believe that should be explored. It's to be seen also. If you become
I think in my experience it's possible. I mean, if you look at the infant and you think that it's worsening just because of let's say not enough recruitment and not enough surfactant, maybe it's possible to give the second and even the third dose non-invasively. But really it depends on many things, on gestational age, on intercurrent diseases and so on. But if it's a pure RDS and the infant is not too weak, let's say, you can try. And also I would like to add that about prophylactic surfactant, let's say prophylaxis in the delivery room. The Cologne approach, it included giving surfactant in the delivery room, not to all babies, but the threshold was 0.3 if the infant had a gestational age below 26, 0.4 for older infants, but also Silverman score. If it was, even with the lower threshold with oxygen, the Silverman score was above 5, they give surfactant even in the delivery room. So for the younger infants, the earlier is the best.
There are two issues. If you look at FiO2, 5 to 10% of this baby will have persistent fetal circulation or some degree of vascular shunting. So you give surfactant based on FiO2, but they don't need surfactant. Or there will be another 5% of extremely SGA baby. They have same cardiovascular situation. And there you need probably lung ultrasound to sort it out, the one that have oxygen dependency, but they don't have a significant lung disease. But it's 5 to 10%. You wonder whether it is worth the effort to do lung ultrasound in 100 baby to get the 3% that have a circulatory problem, 5% have a circulatory problem. The other issue, if you get a 23, 24 week with some chorioamnionitis, with some depression, jelly skin and so on, I'm not sure whether the Silverman score, it's really predictive, because you need a good neuromuscular tone to have a good or to get a good Silverman score. And there, it's variable, but you cannot really trust the score because you don't have enough neuromuscular development in that group of babies or so.
Okay, I was asked to close at 1 sharp.
Okay.
And so I
Thank you.
That we will see again 2:30, a little bit more than 1 hour for the material session. 2:30.